So the next topic in the row is optics, a very ancient word in vogue since the times of Newton, maybe before also. So optics is what? It is the study of light. It is the study of light and also the instruments based on light. So light is a phenomenon rather, which you are very much aware of. All of you know what light is. So in physics, always when we are learning, just get a feel of the subject. For example, as soon as I say light, then don't focus on some notebook or trying to remember something. Just take your vision to what light is. For example, in the last topic, I was speaking of heat. So you associate sun energy with heat, but you also say sunlight. So what does sun give us? It gives us both heat and light. It's very necessary. That is why we call it Surya Devta, God Sun, because God only gives you energy. So sun is the source of light and source of heat. You can imagine without sun what life would have been on earth, or where the sun doesn't come out, how difficult life must be. It will take us immense, maybe almost impossible, to create the amount of energy that is created by sun. Sun gives us light and heat, out of which heat you now understand is some form of energy, kinetic energy. But here, what I would like to say is light is a more mysterious phenomenon than even heat, because heat at least we understand. But on light, there was a great debate among the scientists for centuries. There was a great debate. Now, for centuries, there was a debate whether light is a particle or is it a wave. Now, you will think, what is the difference? See, this is a particle. Particle means something which is fixed in space, which has mass. So light which is moving, which is causing us to see, of course, you know that you cannot see without the light. So is it the particle or is it a wave? So what is the property of wave? Let me also clear it. Very simple example. I am speaking. There are two people standing here. I am speaking. Hello. Who hears this? Does he hear or he also hears? So of course your answer is both of them would hear. If I say hello, he'll say hello, he'll say hello. So one sound going to two people. One sound causing a sensation in the ears of two people. This is the property of a wave. So what happens is light in some cases shows a wave-like nature. For example, it expands, like when it passes through very small holes, then it shows a pattern on a screen, white and dark pattern bands. Those bands are formed because of overlapping of light. So one layer overlaps the other, somewhere it becomes brighter, somewhere it becomes darker. But this overlapping, matter cannot overlap, isn't it? If I have, let us say, two pens, this is two pens, can they overlap? No. But waves can overlap. And after overlapping, they cause constructive, destructive interference. So we will read about all this. So light in some cases, it shows patterns of interference, which shows that two light waves can meet. Only waves can meet, particles cannot meet. On the other hand, in some of the experiments, it shows particle nature. For example, photoelectric effect, wherein when light falls on certain object, it seems to knock something out. It's like if there is a box and you hit it with a ball, it falls down. So if you throw a lot of balls, but they are of cotton, they will not make the box fall. But if you take a heavy ball and you hit it even with lesser speed, it may cause the object to fall. Why? Because you are hitting it with matter. Sometimes when light hits upon something, it feels like light is a particle. So now there is a term called photon, for which Einstein said he could not understand what photon is throughout his life. That was his statement, that even in 50 years I could not really understand what photon is. But photons are packets of light, that's what they say. So are they particles? Are they waves? So I will say both. Photon again is a mysterious thing, because there is something called photon, but this photon, the particle of light, also behaves differently in different situations. Like for example, a property of wave is it can be simultaneously present in two locations. Sometimes one photon is present in two locations, which is not understandable to the common sense, to the logic. Sometimes it knocks down something, so it acts like a particle. So light caused a great debate among the scientists. So Newton believed it is a particle, surprisingly. Huygens believed it was wave, and Einstein finally said that I agree that it is a wave, but it is also particle sometimes. So now people say a very strange sentence, and that is light, and we are discussing light in optics. What is light? What are the properties of light? What are the instruments based on the different properties of light? What are the phenomena of light? Different phenomena associated with light. So light now is supposed to have a dual character. Very surprising statement. What is the meaning of dual? Dual means two things at a time. It's also a particle, it's a wave. So you can say sometimes it's a particle, sometimes it's a wave. So whatever it is, but we have to study light in different circumstances, isn't it? So when you study light in different circumstances, then you are basically studying optics. So now we have concluded that we can divide the study of optics in two parts. One which we call as ray optics, or another word of that is geometrical optics. So I will just explain you why we call it as geometrical optics or ray optics. And second is wave optics. तो आपको दूसरा वाला टर्म तो बहुत समझ में आ रहा होगा इजीली. वेव ऑप्टिक्स मींस यू आर स्टडीइंग लाइट एज अ वेव. So what are you doing here? Are you studying light as a particle in ray optics? No, not exactly. So you are studying light as a ray. Light as a ray, as a stream. And this ray, it falls on matter. It may be reflected back, it may go into that, it can be transmitted by that particular object if it is transparent. It can be absorbed also by something else. So you are studying light as a ray, and you are understanding those properties which can be derived purely based on geometry. For example, you know what triangle is, you know what square is, you know what happens when a certain line takes a turn. So we are using angles here, we are using distances here. So my answer is like, here we study light as a ray. Now here we are not talking whether light is a wave or a particle, but we are talking of light as a ray. For example, suppose this is a surface, this is a mirror. So the top surface is the reflecting. Now ray of light is falling here, and we know that it reflects, so it will go like this, go back. So light is reflected. Reflection means striking and coming back. Now this ray of light, what is it? It's wave or a particle. So we don't really worry in ray optics. We simply say whatever it is, but when it falls, it will be reflected. So we are more interested in how the light is reflected, and how do we know that what angle it makes with mirror, or how much is the change in angle after reflection. So things which can be derived based on purely geometrical considerations are studied. Purely geometrical considerations. And sometimes in geometry you also add trigonometry. Trigonometry is sine theta, cos theta and all. So for example, lenses. When you are talking of lenses, then what happens? You know, the object becomes bigger. So when light passes through certain objects, or you can say certain things, like for example lenses, then it either causes enlargement of vision, or it may also do a contraction of some object. Like you can see a contracted image of something or expanded image. That's what I mean here. Now why this happens is because of a phenomenon called refraction. So we will be studying reflection, refraction, all these things. But I am just first telling you that light as a ray is studied in ray optics, where we study the phenomena where a ray of light on passing through something either bends or reflected, and there is the formation of images. For example, you see an image in a mirror. So why you see an image in the mirror? Because of reflection of light. So we are not worried whether the light which is helping us to see some object, it's a wave or particle, but we'll study the formation of images in what? Ray optics. So light as a ray. So here what do we study? Basically things like reflection, refraction, and instruments based on this reflection and reflection. For example, mirrors and lenses, instruments based on this. So it's a vast study basically again. So all these branches of physics go to a vast study, and you know how important is optics. Everybody is using spectacles and goggles. So all these phenomena, scattering of light, there is a phenomenon called scattering of light, which was explained by C.V. Raman, who got Nobel Prize for this. So all these phenomena we study in ray optics. Then what do we study in wave optics? Light as a wave. So here we study things like interference. I already said two beams of light can interfere with each other. Diffraction. Diffraction means bending of light round corners. Bending of light round the corners. डिटेल्स में मैं नहीं जाऊंगा किसी भी चीज के, सिर्फ फिनोमिना बता रहा हूं आपको. पोलराइजेशन. All these things we are going to study in wave optics, and we use many principles like Huygens construction and all, and see and even explain these phenomena like reflection, refraction based on the properties of light as a wave. So whatever it is, but the study of light is very important. There are many aspects to it. Light is energy also, so we will study the energy possessed by light also. We will study photometry, we will study ray optics, we will study wave optics. और अंतिम बात मैं आपसे इतना कहूँगा, ये थोड़ा सा वीडियो लंबा है क्योंकि इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है हमारा, वास्ट टॉपिक है, अपने आप में एक सेगमेंट ऑफ फिजिक्स है, कि आप जो भी कुछ देख रहे हैं वो लाइट की मदद से ही देख रहे हैं, मगर आप लाइट को नहीं देख रहे हैं. दिस इज सरप्राइजिंग. सो इफ यू सी एन ऑब्जेक्ट, लेट अस से दिस फैन, it is because of the light reflected by fan. So that light carries the information of fan, but if light is the carrier of information, then light itself cannot be seen, because light is the source of seeing. If you are seeing something through light, then what will you see light through? अगर आप एक चश्मे की मदद से किसी ऑब्जेक्ट को देखते हैं तो आप चश्मे को कैसे देखेंगे? या तो किसी दूसरे चश्मे से, पर अगर दूसरा चश्मा नहीं है तो आप चश्मे को नहीं देख सकते हैं. तो लाइट इज द सोर्स ऑफ सीइंग ऑब्जेक्ट्स. सो यू नो इट, व्हेन लाइट गोज ऑफ देन देयर इज नो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, यू कैन नॉट सी एन ऑब्जेक्ट. व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑब्जेक्ट्स स्टॉप throwing light into your eyes. If there is red light, you see objects as red, so color changes also happens. So colors of light are also important. So light is that important in life that when electricity goes, we actually say light नहीं है. Actually it's wrong. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है, लाइट तो है, सनलाइट इज देयर, बट वी से लाइट नहीं है. सो लाइट इज सो इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट वी हैव started using the term light for electricity. And so much for now. I'll see you in the other topics. Thank you.